Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, starts us off in Israel. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. We are in Kibbutz near Oz. This is just 1 mile away from the border with Gaza. And on the morning of October the 7th, Hamas militants came in here on a rampage. They pillaged, they burned, they destroyed, they killed, and they kidnapped. And it's a reminder of how we got to where we are right now. Lots of discussions ongoing about humanitarian aid getting into Gaza as this war drags on.
Overnight, President Biden brokering a deal to deliver aid to millions of Palestinians trapped in Gaza. The president saying Egypt will now open the Rafah Crossing along Gaza's southern border, allowing a limited number of trucks filled with humanitarian aid to reach the millions of people looking to escape the bombing.
I wanted to make sure there was a vehicle, a mechanism that this could happen quickly. This has been a very blunt negotiation I've had. If Hamas doesn't let it get through, it just confiscates it, then it's going to end.
But because the roads into Gaza are damaged by Israeli bombing, the aid may not arrive until tomorrow at the earliest. A source familiar with the efforts telling ABC News aid convoys and personnel from the US Embassy in Cairo are as close to the crossing as possible and are ready to send aid across. But the promise of relief is too late for the rising casualties in Gaza. More than 3,400 killed since a massacre in Israel by Hamas, who murdered more than 1,400 and took more than 200, including Americans, hostage. Israel vowing to eradicate Hamas, retaliating with thousands of airstrikes. Just hours ago, Palestinians seemed digging desperately to rescue children buried in the rubble of their bedroom, bombed as they slept. Anger and protests throughout the region after that catastrophic explosion at a Gaza hospital, which reportedly killed hundreds of civilians, according to Palestinian health authorities. Hamas claims the hospital was hit by an Israeli airstrike, but Israel says it was hit by a wayward rocket fired by Islamic militants. Video shows the moment of the blast. Amid growing questions about what happened and who's to blame.
What we saw here was a bright fireball, which is closer to what you would see out of residual fuel out of, say, a rocket that hadn't finished its full time of flight.
The Israelis saying they've reviewed intelligence and aerial footage that proves the group Palestinian Islamic Jihad was responsible for the attack. The US is conducting its own investigation, but backs Israeli analysis that it wasn't one of their strikes.
Based on the information we've seen to date, it appears the result of an errant rocket fired by a terrorist group in Gaza.
But an NSC official telling ABC News the US still hasn't determined if Palestinian Islamic Jihad was at fault. Pro-Palestinian demonstrations erupting around the world, some angry at America's support for Israel, with massive crowds gathering outside of US embassies. In Beirut, Lebanon, one protester attaching a Palestinian flag to the security fence around the US embassy there and on the street. Amid the chaos, ABC's Mola Lenghi.
As you can see, protesters pushing back against security forces, starting by throwing rocks, launching fireworks. It's been a constant push and pull here between security forces and the protesters who are trying to push up against the American embassy. They say they are outraged at Israel's bombardment of Palestinian citizens and the U.S. support for it.
The United Kingdom now advising its citizens in Lebanon to leave now while commercial options remain available, advising people not to travel to Lebanon at all amid fear that the conflict will spread. Overnight, the IDF releasing this video saying they attacked military targets along the Lebanese border, retaliating against attacks by the Iranian-backed militant group Hezbollah.
Well, we've been speaking to the son of one of the residents here who was taken hostage. 80-year-old Chaim Perry came out of his house to protect his wife, and he surrendered to the militants. His son says he hasn't heard from him since then, and he believes that that number that's now risen of hostages is actually significantly higher. George?
Okay, Ian Pannell, thanks. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.